Hi, I'm Pattu from freefincal. In today's video, let's talk about how falling interest rates and reduced returns from equity can affect almost all financial plans and especially a retirement plan. This is not because of incorrect assumptions, but more because of changing economic conditions, market conditions, and so on. Um, there are some ways in which we can minimize it, but it's not easy. I mean, on paper you can minimize it, but practically it's going to be tough. Before I begin, yesterday my boy had made a video on needs versus wants versus savings and so on. I thank you all for watching, and some of you had commented that it was good on Facebook. I thank you for all that, and also in some other videos because they couldn't comment here. The comments were disabled here. That's not my doing. That's YouTube's policy. When you have a minor in the video, it's better to mention it as made for kids, and when you mention it as made for kids, then the comments will automatically be turned off by YouTube. If you don't do it and they find out there's a minor in the video, then you'll get into trouble. I got into trouble in my son's channel. I didn't want to get into trouble in here, so I on the safe side mentioned it as made for kids, and therefore the comments were automatically turned off. The reason why the comments were automatically turned off is you can see that there are 6 dislikes. So I mean, you would have they don't want any nasty comments in the videos involving minors, and therefore they did it. That's life. I mean, you have to accept that. All right, so let's get to this. So we're gonna have a look at a retirement planning calculator, simple retirement planning calculator, very basic one. Let us consider a 30-year-old guy, and he decides to do a retirement planning calculation in the year 2010, and he assumes an anticipated post-retirement rate of interest, that is the interest on the corpus after retirement post-tax, to be 7% in 2010 assumption. The current expenses that were expected to persist in retirement in 2010, essential expenses, minimum is 25,000. He expects to work until age 55. For the next 25 years, he has time investing, and inflation is 6%. He assumes that he will be alive from 55 to age 85. That's 30 years in retirement, and he assumes that the overall portfolio return on all his asset classes will be about 10% post-tax. Equity at that time was tax-free. He assumes 12% return from equity and 60% allocation to equity, 8% return from fixed income, and 40% allocation to fixed income. 8% you assume tax-free PPF. At that time it was okay. He assumes that he will increase his annual investment by 5%, and at that point in time he had only about 1 lakh in his hand, which is EPF corpus, let's say, and that 1 lakh will grow at the rate of 8%, he assumed. Even for such assumptions, he had to invest 71% of that 25,000 rupees. And if you expect 12% return from equity in 2010, people will call you conservative. If you expect 12% return from equity today, people will say you are being optimistic, you're overestimating, and so on. That's how things have changed today. So this man increases his investment to 100%. So he basically invests not just at 71% required. He basically invests 100% of that 25,000. So he invests 25,000 a month for 10 years, and after 10 years he revisits the retirement planning calculation. So it turned out that he managed to get only about let me just go back, sorry. He managed to get only about 7.5% return over 10 years. 50%, finally the allocation became 50% in equity because of crashes and so on, and the return from equity became only 7%, 50% in fixed income, and that was about 8%. So what was supposed to be 10% growth became only 7.5% year-on-year growth. So when he revisits that calculation, he has lowered the post-retirement rate of return now to be 6%. He, because of lifestyle changes, inflation, and so on, his current expenses that will persist in retirement are now 55,000 rupees after 10 years. And at age 40, he wants to only work for 10 more years. At age 30, he wanted to work until 55. But because of changing health conditions, office pressure, etc., job insecurity, and so on, he says you can only work until age 50. So only 10 more years are left. In inflation, he assumes to be 6%. He still has 30 years of life after retirement. Now he assumes only 7.8% from his portfolio. 7.8% because of he 40% allocation to equity, and he assumes only 9% post-tax return from equity, 60% to debt, and he assumes only 7% return tax-free from fixed income, that is debt. So that becomes 7.8%. He says he will manage 10% increase year on year in his investment amount, and over the last 10 years he has accumulated 57.8 lakhs, and he assumes that 57.8 lakhs will also grow at the rate of 7.8% as an assumption. And if you do that, he has to invest 165% of that 55,000 rupees. That is what so two things have happened. He did not get the return he wanted, and the return expectation has also gone down from all asset classes. So that is the danger to the retirement plan. Now how can he manage to invest 165% of 55,000 rupees every month for the next 10 years, and that also this amount should increase every year by 10%. So it has become very difficult. So this is the problem with decreasing interest rates. How to avoid this? Well, first of all, you should do the retirement planning calculation every year. What I showed you is a bit extreme, but you should do it every year. Even if you do it every year, at the solution is not going to change. The solution is you have to invest more. So my suggestion is, please have low return expectations, especially if you're in the 30s and 20s. Have low return expectations. Do the retirement planning calculation every year. Invest as much as possible. Don't lose faith in equity. Equity will turn around, but you must have a proper asset allocation, how you will change equity down the line, how you will vary equity. I do this automatically in my robo advisory template. I teach how to do it in my lectures on goal-based portfolio management. Go to freefincal and check them out. So that those are ways in which you can minimize the blow, but you have to reduce your return expectations going forward. You have to invest more. There is no other choice. Unfortunately, when you teach people to start investing in equity, you say equity will beat inflation and so on. But if that doesn't happen, and that need not happen, then the problem becomes even more. The need for investing more will come back again, and that's just I don't know what to say except tragic. So please check your retirement plans, expect lower returns, and try to invest more. Thank you. Bye bye.